America's Mayor Alive. And there with us, you see, is Dr. Maria.
Well, I am so happy to be here, Mayor Giuliani, and I'm so happy about today. I couldn't even sleep last night in anticipation.
No, today has to be, well, it has to be one of the great days in history. A war that seemed that it couldn't end, not just the immediate manifestation of it, but my goodness, it's been going on from the day the UN declared the state of Israel. The Arabs attacked, and Israel had to fight for its freedom and won it against vastly outnumbered armies. Won every battle they fought. Some of them almost to the point that they could have extinguished some of those countries and didn't. The territory that everyone is debating about, I'm not talking about Gaza now, I'm talking about the West Bank, is all territory they won in battle. Thousands of Israelis died to secure that land for them. And that land was given to them by the UN. The West Bank, which has been carved out, is taking away from them what was given to them.
Absolutely.
By the UN. And the idea that they're colonizers, they didn't colonize the place. They were given their homeland.
They are the chosen people.
Yeah. This is a very, very confused piece of territory. The Middle East, right?
Mm-hmm.
There never was a country there.
No.
There was never a Palestine. Palestine is a creation of Arafat. Never. There always was an Israel. There always was a Jerusalem. Jerusalem has been the home of the Jewish people for about 3,000 years. Jerusalem is mentioned in their prayers over and over and over again. There's no question that that's the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. And Jews have inhabited in part, sometimes large numbers, sometimes due to annihilations by Muhammad, for example, in smaller numbers. But this was it was as logical a place to put a homeland for people who had come close to being annihilated. Yeah. And part of the group that participated in that annihilation was the Grand Mufti of Palestine, the Arabs.
Yeah.
Hitler's hatred of the Jews was nothing in comparison to the centuries-long, religiously based Muslim hatred of the Jews.
Forever, and the persecution worldwide. And I couldn't understand what happened in
all
our
through the
country.
Ottoman Empire. Same thing.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't understand what happened in the West. The West, they blame a lot on the story of Holy Week and Jesus dying on the cross. And there's one reference that where the crowd says, "His blood be on us and our people," and all this. However, it misses the great message of our Lord and Savior, which is forgive them. Not only forgive them, it's not all of them, which is what prejudice is all about. We make it all of them. Who are his followers? Jewish people.
Yeah.
Who spread Christianity more than anyone else? Peter and Paul. What were they?
Right.
Jewish.
Yeah. I encourage anybody who hasn't seen it to watch The Chosen. It is so well written. Good. Yeah. Good. So today was a wonderful day, Mayor. The hostages were released. The remaining 20 that were alive. I'm a medical person, so of course I'm scanning the way they look. Absolutely, some of them were underweight, dehydrated, but overall, they're going to have lots of medical tests. They looked better. I thought a few of them would be very fragile unless we didn't see them, but I was bawling my eyes out seeing them reunited with their families. I am upset. Only 4 bodies were released. I don't trust Hamas.
But why should you?
And I think they're going to hide some back. And I also think they're hiding crimes, the brutality of how these people died. So that's might be a reason they don't want to give all the bodies back.
On a day like this, which you know is going to live long after you in history, you really do have to thank God.
Absolutely.
this is a day, I think, that belongs in a biblical sense in the days in which God looked favorably on his chosen people.
Yeah.
And I have the temerity to include among that the United States of America. I don't know any other country, Israel accepted, that has a firm belief that their rights come from God. Our founding fathers uniformly believed that these rights that they were announcing for us and creating for us and defending for us were above human hands and could not be touched by human beings. Now,
it's throughout our documents.
When we look at what's happening to free speech in England, when we look at what happened to free speech in the United States with Biden and his people,
censorship,
what happened with censorship or imprisoning innocent people, we got a long way back. And a lot of very positive things like today and all of the things President Trump has done.
Mayor, we could get into a long conversation about this, but our role, President Trump's role in stopping 8 wars. But look at even in our history, we're a baby country, 250 years old, compared to, Israel, 3,000 years old, Italy, all these, well, actually, Italy, it's a little complicated. Italy's a younger country than us. They didn't get unified until the mid 1800s. But anyways,
country as a unified country, as a people.
Yeah, as a people, they've been there. So we're a baby country, and look at all the places we liberated. World War I, World War II. This is why Normandy, France, you go there to this day, you will see a French flag and you will see an American flag because they know the sacrifices our young men and women made to free them, to liberate. Southern Italy, the same thing. When our troops were there in World War II, there was a huge earthquake. And who helped repair everything and help the people? The Americans.
Well, I think that's absolutely redeemed now. And that legacy, which we were losing, Donald Trump has brought back in great style. I mean, great substance. I always have said that my presidents that I put in a special category, what I would call my Hall of Honor, the Hall of Liberators, is Washington, who liberated us from George III, and then became president and turned down being a king. Lincoln, who liberated the slaves with a war that cost the lives of 300,000+ white men, which I don't think is noted enough. Not that takes away the sin of slavery. It does not.
Right.
It gives you an adult view of the world, good and bad. Except America is a much better balance of good than bad than any nation that's ever existed. Doesn't mean it wasn't bad and real bad.
Of course, right.
But
look at the Democrat Party with the slavery and then the Democrat Party with the KKK. So that's the bad stuff.
It's true they have a disproportionate connection to the most evil things that have happened in America.
Jim Crow.
Including right now. Then, of course, you had Roosevelt, who delivered Europe, as you were talking about.
Yep.
Not only we think of Europe as the Holocaust, it was also all those people were living in subjugation to the Nazis. Now, I will have to take a little away from Roosevelt because he liberated Europe, and then he gave some of it to his friend Joe Stalin.
Yeah.
Which was just as bad as Hitler. Yeah. And those people suffered, died, and were tortured for decades until the other great liberator came along, Ronald Reagan, who had followed a group of presidents that decided the best thing to do was to negotiate with the murderous,
and look the
atheistic,
other way.
Killing Russians and Chinese.
Yeah.
And he said, how's this going to end? They asked him. He said, we win, they lose. We won, they lost. And now we have Donald Trump joins their group in liberating, really in many ways, lifting from Israel this terrible problem. Israel, as a result of this war, which had tremendous losses, Israel has come out of it as the dominant military force in the Middle East.
So proud of them.
I would not want to take them on. And I am very proud to have them as, you know how wonderful it is for us to have them as allies. This means if you want to fight us, you got to fight Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You want to fight Israel? I don't want to fight Israel.
They're going to blow up your phone.
and all those protesters after October 7th who question our alliance with Israel don't get it. Right, Mayor? Well, it's absurd.
I don't know what they get. You interview them. I don't. They're more your age. I do not know. I do not know what they get. I do feel bad for them because I think it was all designed by a combination of communists and Islamic true believers. And you put the two together, and this is what you get. You look at the professors that are now being weeded out, right? They're either Islamic extremists, or they're Marxists.
Yeah,
right.
And both of them put aside the United States as a real problem for them.
So in Israel last night and today, you saw tons of American flags in this little town called Ederet. And it had the biggest American flag waving as President Trump's Air Force One was coming in. I had goosebumps. I'm like, yeah, that's my president.
Yeah, we'll find that. We'll find that.
Oh, you have it on your show.
I do have it on my show.
At 9 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, we're going to send you over to Dr. Maria. And you can see
LindellTV.com or at
right here where you are if you're on
Lindell TV.
Right,
yep.
Like my tie for today.
You look very, very snappy. Is that too old-fashioned word?
I wanted to look very
in a Trump little tie pin.
Yeah, I wanted to look distinct.
Debonair.
I shouldn't say distinguished.
You do.
I wanted to look like this is an important occasion.
It is so
because
important.
To me, I can't express to you enough how important this is, and how wonderful it is for my friend Donald Trump, who has gone through so much. He just accomplished something that puts him in the annals of the 4 or 5 greatest presidents, if not the greatest. Yep. I mean,
but the families,
and the families love him. I mean, the families love him. Israel loves him. I don't know. He keeps talking. They keep joking about 2028. Why don't they go over to Israel in 2028? Bibi could use a little rest.
Rudy,
then I could go have cigars with him again.
Rudy,
I'm afraid. Now I'm afraid of the cigars. They put me on trial.
Yeah, all these people who, everybody's saying Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Listen, this is a bastard prize now. When we gave it to Obama, gave it to Obama for doing nothing, for being black. I said it's a bastard type prize. It has no respect to it. Even the woman who recently won it, who's in hiding in Venezuela, said President Trump should have gotten it.
Well, I mean, she certainly deserves recognition, Rashada. She won the election. She won the election in Venezuela, I'm told overwhelmingly. They cheated because you can't cheat on elections, right? But they cheated on the election. They made Maduro the winner again. She is in hiding there and fighting to be reinstated as president. And I think one of the reasons the committee was so impressed with her was that she remained there and didn't run away. And I mean, Maduro will kill her on sight. So this is a woman who, under ordinary circumstances, one would say, we should give her the Nobel Peace Prize. But this is beyond the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean,
it is. But he got the Israelis' highest honor.
Well, that's much more
recognition. Important. Yes, I agree. I think that's much more important.
I was once considered for the Nobel Peace Prize. Like I was second or third.
That's right.
And I forgot.
You know that?
Yeah.
I don't know who I lost to, but I didn't.
They weren't worthy. No.
Well, if they were, they weren't. They saved me a real problem. I'm not sure I would have taken it, but then I would have felt bad for the people of the city if I didn't take it. You know, it was like
Yeah.
being knighted, honorary knight was okay. That's a lot of Americans have done that, and America loves England, and England loves America, and it's fine. But the Nobel Peace Prize, when they gave it to people like particularly Arafat,
oh my God,
Such
a joke.
I had a particular thing with Arafat because I investigated him for 27 murders of Americans, and then my President Clinton would be up his backside all the time. And I'm thinking to myself, how in God's name doesn't he see the blood on his hands? I couldn't deal with somebody with that much blood on their hands. Or if I did, I'd deal with them in a way where I was in charge and you're going to do what I want you to do.
Mm.
Someone wouldn't send you money, you fat bastard.
Yeah.
You know, his wife is running around in the south of France, if she's still alive, with billions that were stolen. Yeah, people want to know why are the Palestinian people so poor? Because their leaders steal their money. That's why.
Absolutely.
The Jewish nation doesn't steal their money. Yeah, they got plenty of money of their own. They don't need their money. The money comes from the UN anyway. The UN steals a lot of it. The
It's
UN
like
organization.
the Pulitzer Prize. I no longer believe in that. When the New York Times reporters got it for the Russian hoax.
And it wasn't revoked.
And we all knew the time they were writing those articles, it was all fake.
Yeah, also,
the evidence was there.
Pulitzer Prize is supposed to be for exceptional journalism.
Yeah.
Their journalism was exceptionally bad. So it should be revoked.
Nobody reads the New York Times anymore.
Or except as a joke.
Yeah.
Or
even the UN. I can't stand the UN. I want the United States out of it. When they put on the Human Rights Council, China, Russia, isn't Iran on the Human Rights Council?
Well, sure. Well, it's like saying, who knows more about stealing than thieves? So they put on a country they put on the two countries that have killed more of their own people than possibly any countries in history, China and Iran. They specialize in killing their own people, not just you. The Russians don't kill too many Russians. They kill Russians. I mean, what's his name did? Stalin did. But nowadays, they don't go around killing Russians. But the Chinese like to kill their own people, and the Iranians like to kill. Right now, they're
Iranians, under this current president of Iran,
they're killing people.
Over 1,200 political prisoners have been executed.
Yeah, probably half of them are friends.
Yeah.
MEK. This is the Nobel Prize winner. That's
I know him. The one that's sending his narcotics this way.
Yep. I dedicated this award to the Venezuelan people and President Trump because I believe that's absolutely fair, says Maria Corina Machado. We, the Venezuelan people, are absolutely grateful to President Trump for the way he has supported democracy and freedom in the Americas and how he's blowing the shit out of Maduro's henchmen. Each one of those boats that goes down are a bunch of sons of bitches that have taken the people that have taken freedom from the people of Venezuela. God bless Donald Trump. I made a few of my own.
Oh, okay. I'm like, is that in print? Those swear words?
I added a few of my own, just for the heck of it. Now, Columbus, we have to say something about Columbus Day before you have to go.
Okay.
Tell us about having.
On October 12th, 1492, Christopher
Columbus sailed the blue.
Yes, from Genoa. He was really good with geography. And remember this time period, people are still believing the world is flat. He
was from Genoa, but didn't he fly under the flag?
He flew under Isabel and Ferdinand, King and Queen of Spain.
And he had actually he'd actually sailed more for Portugal.
Yeah, and Portugal as well.
And also for Genoa.
Yeah. But this particular trip was funded.
Yeah, but they thought this was like bull.
Well, they were looking trade routes to do different things. And literally he landed and he named it San Salvador in what is today the Bahamas. He thought he was still in Asia at that time. And that was like October 12th, 1492. On October 28th, he then discovered Cuba. So he was looking around all these
Dominican
areas.
Republic.
Yes, Dominican. He was still believing he was in Asia. And it was Amerigo Vespucci, another Italian, whom were named after America. He too was an explorer, but he got more famous because of certain letters. I don't want to get into all that. But anyways, he's the one that kept challenging, saying it. You weren't in Asia. I think you discovered a new continent.
And they named it America.
Yeah. Yep.
Same.
Yep.
Oh, God. Good. Good for the Italians.
Yes.
We like Italians and we like Israelis. I'm having a hard time. What's my second favorite country? Israel.
Israel. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to, part of it is I don't want to get my grandparents and my parents upset. My parents would understand. My grandparents probably, they go so far back. So I'm going to say they're co-equal. I love I love them for different reasons. I love Greece too. I'll tell you why. That's where the three I just named are pretty much the cradle of our Western civilization.
I was just going to say that.
And although they don't put it that way, both President Trump and Bibi Netanyahu will now go down as among the great defenders of Western civilization, because that's what they just did. They just defended Western civilization. And President Trump is doing battle for Western civilization every day that he's president. That's what he's battling for when he's saying you can't take a little boy or girl and just chop them all up because they think maybe you can't change man and woman. I mean, it's part of our culture. It's part of our religion. It's part of our background.
Me, woman.
No kidding.
I think you have to go to commercial, Mayor.
I think I'm being taken off now.
Never.
Excuse
Are
me.
they coming after me like YouTube used to come after me?
Well, thank you for having me on, and I was very happy to be
9
here.
o'clock?
9 p.m. if you want to stay on X, at Lindell TV, it plays on there, or LindellTV.com.
Isn't she better to look at?
Yeah.
But she's very smart. Dr. Maria is very smart.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news, even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly, where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Welcome back. I feel like I'm in Israel. That's so real. The background
It does look real tonight.
The background. I was complaining before because we had a longer shot that was cleaner. Kind of like. But I have to say, I almost feel like I'm there.
It does, with the two flags in front of us.
So we're going to bring Justine on. When you do, then after a while, show us the long shot again. So they can see the whole Wailing Wall. There she is, Justine. How are you, my dear?
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Happy Columbus Day.
Happy Columbus Day and happy Freedom Day.
Yes, it's a great
Liberty Day. We got to find a special name for this day. Because this is one of the great days in our history, mutual, American and Israeli.
It certainly is. It's a great day for Jews and Italians and Americans. So we'll have to come up with like a snappy name for that. I feel like our Jews and Italians are basically cousins, at least in New Jersey, New York. And it's such a beautiful background. It's really what happened today. Only President Trump and Bibi Netanyahu could foster something like this. There was a reason why Hamas terrorists actually admitted that they were hoping, of course, they were hoping that Joe Biden would win a re-election, because the moment they didn't even call the race yet. I remember on election night, President Trump, the votes were about to go in, and suddenly Hamas released a statement actually claiming that they would be willing to start trying to release some hostages, because they knew that President Trump wasn't just going to let them walk all over America, walk all over the West, and walk all over those hostage families who were grieving and mourning every single day, just desperately waiting and doing everything they could to get their loved ones back home, as the media just brushed them off and treated them. New York Times actually complained this week. They wrote a headline complaining that the hostages were coming home, saying that Hamas needed some leverage to beat Israel, and that they should have kept these innocent Jews who were taken because they were Jewish. This is the legacy mainstream media outlet. So we're really fighting evil here.
No, we are. The switch in public relations happened a long time ago. And I have to say, I'm probably boasting, but I think I picked it up immediately. It's one of the reasons I threw Arafat out of the UN, because, and I had realized it beforehand. The minute we started the two-state solution with Arafat, I said, we're out of our minds, and this is either insane or corrupt. So in the 80s, I had investigated Arafat at the request of the Reagan administration, actually at the request of the counsel for the State Department, Abe Sofaer, who was a federal judge, a brilliant man. And we got a warrant for his arrest, so he couldn't come to the United Nations. He didn't have diplomatic immunity. So the minute he showed up at Kennedy Airport or any place else, I had a warrant to arrest him and charge him with 27 homicides, including Leon Klinghoffer. Well, the Clinton administration, maybe even the Bush administration, because Jim Baker was probably one of the people that the Israeli and the Jewish people disliked the most. I think it was business. He was like an oil man, and he was sucking up to Saudi Arabia. But in any event, I don't know where this two-state solution came from. How you can have a moral equivalent between a nation and a group of terrorist thieves and murderers. It's crazy. And how you can expect that nation to put people who are bound to kill them next to them is also crazy. And it's a wonderful thing that Donald Trump broke us through this, because nobody else has been able to do that.
It's true. I think you should have won the Nobel Peace Prize. Going after Arafat, that was.
Oh, I should have.
I think you should have.
That. Oh my God, they almost executed me for that. The great New York Times wrote an article saying I was going to impair peace. Here I was, simple little mayor. I was going to impair peace in the Middle East.
You saw it before anybody else did. You saw that we were about to fight against evil, and you saw how the legacy media and our
from the beginning. It amazed me. I couldn't understand it. And then as it would get worse, I always thought there'd be a way to flip it and flip it and flip it. And I always thought our administrations, including Clinton and Bush with Israel. But they never really helped Israel flip the script. They just took it as a given that was going to be, they were the occupiers and they were the colonizers. Israel is not a colonizer. Israel was put there by the UN. And they've only been there 3,000 years. I mean, it's pretty hard to colonize a place you were at 3,000 years ago.
Exactly. It's our ancestral homeland. And it's pretty funny for all the leftists who are trying to make up this fake Indigenous Peoples Day. They're the same leftists who want to wipe Jews out of our native homeland. Jews are the ones who are indigenous. So it's funny because
that's true. They're the indigenous people.
Yeah, exactly. So if they're going to celebrate,
name a team after them.
I like it.
It should be an indigenous Jewish Columbus all in what. No, but I think Columbus Day should remain its own thing, and we'll have another holiday for bringing back the hostages and fighting jihad and winning. And it's so interesting and so sick to see. On CNN, you had Christiane Amphenauer claiming, oh, these hostages, and they do this on purpose. They did it to metaphorically spit in the face of the hostages as they were coming home today to claim, oh, well, they didn't go through as much as those poor innocent Gazans went through. Meanwhile, the UN admitted they had enough aid to actually feed them for months. And you're seeing a lot of them are fat and well-fed. It was all a lie. It was all just BS. And all the people who were screaming for a ceasefire for 2 years, they didn't want a ceasefire. They wanted Jews dead. And they wanted the jihadists to come for Christians.
Yeah, they were even penetrating the MAGA movement. That's scary. They really are frightening. I mean, they were kind of, it never was as strong as the press liked to make it. But if you listen to the press, it sounded like there were going to be a real fissure in the MAGA movement. Didn't some of them try to blame Israel for the death of Charlie Kirk? That they had Israel had something to do with it?
They actually blamed a colleague of mine. They just picked a random Jewish guy who works in the conservative movement and said it's you. And this is an age-old blood libel. Every time something bad happens throughout history, there's always a uniparty of hatred, a uniparty of evil that forms. And it's actually based in Marxism. All the people on the right who are attacking Jews right now, they are actually attacking Jews for the same reason that the left attacked whites, that the left attacks Jews now. This is the modern day BLM. They're angry because they need a common enemy to pin all their personal problems and loserdom on. And Jews are a successful group of people. Whites are generally very successful.
And Israel is a remarkably successful country with everything against it. I don't think there's any doubt it's the strongest military power in the Middle East. And I don't know, but I would think it might be one of the strongest military powers after the three big ones.
They are. And
if we're going to war, I'd rather have them next to me than France.
Yeah, me too. We don't want the surrenderers.
Who knows who England would fight for now that more kids are named Muhammad than anything else.
It's diversity is a strength, Stan.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm glad you were able to come on, Justine. Your background and knowledge here is very, very useful. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well.
And God bless.
God bless.
He delivered the chosen people. This could be another. It can't be another chapter in the Bible, but we could have like a little extra. Yeah. Exodus here.
we'll write it in.
Right. God bless you.
God bless you.
We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnels to Towers at T2T.org.
And we're back.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with you at the Wailing Wall.
We really are there.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy for my Jewish friends and brothers and sisters. You can't imagine. It's been a long, long time being on the other side of this. Recently, particularly with President Trump coming along, with allies who saw it my way. But for the longest time, I was like alone, particularly in New York, even among some of my Jewish friends, about the whole stupidity of the two-state solution. How do you have a two-state solution with a state that wants to annihilate you? It just didn't make any sense to me. I said, I don't have to be Jewish to be deadly opposed to it. Nor do I have to be Jewish to understand the value of the Jewish state. Ronald Reagan taught me that. Ronald Reagan said, we're friends with Israel, not for domestic politics. We're friends with Israel because they're one of the few countries we can count on. Think of that, a long time ago, huh? One of the few countries we could count on. And we sure can. I mean, they help us decompose Iran, huh? That's for our benefit as much as theirs. Well, again, happy Columbus Day. All us Italian Americans are very, very proud of Columbus and are very outraged that someone like Zoran Mandani, he's so much on record. He gave the finger to the statue of Columbus in Queens, which is not terribly far from where the Mets play, and next to one of the greatest Italian restaurants in the city. And there he went, gave the finger 2 Columbus days ago. You know what I'd like to do with that finger? I'm not allowed to say. Little sissy boy. As John Ketchum says today, I think today or yesterday, it's a stark contrast from mayoral frontrunner. He's comparing. Mayor Adams said Tuesday he wants the city's Landmarks Preservation Commission to designate 2 Christopher Columbus statues. So one is the statue that I think most people know. It's in Columbus Circle, which is kind of where the west and east side meet and cross. And it's where the Thanksgiving parade will pass, not too long from now. The second one is in Queens, and it's quite a beautiful quite a beautiful statue of Columbus. And he wants both of them landmarked. And by the way, the mayor controls the votes on the Landmark Commission. I think I remember that. He deserves thanks for agreeing to take a long overdue step to preserve the explorer's central place in America's history and Italian-American identity. It's a stark contrast from mayoral frontrunner Zoran Mandani, who in 2020 tweeted an image of himself giving a latex glove middle finger to Columbus statue in Astoria, caption, "Take it down. Take you down, you bum." These statues deserve to stand proudly in honor of the New World's first immigrant and all who followed him. Italian Americans revere Columbus as a hero because he was one. He dared to go where others wouldn't. His contemporaries believed he would perish in the open sea. Instead, he forever expanded humanity's horizons. His transatlantic crossings inaugurated the most consequential migration in history. In his voyage, generations of Italian Americans have seen their own. Like him, they set out for a distant and strange land, often guided by little more than legends. My grandfather, $20 in his wallet. Now, that probably meant something then. And that was his going back to Italy after he had made something of a success in the United States as a tailor. I don't know what he had when he came over the first time. He went back a few years after to bring his sisters here. And when he returned and he checked in at Ellis Island, because originally he didn't go through Ellis Island, hadn't been built yet. It's recorded, Rodolfo Giuliani and his name. He lived on the Lower East Side then, and his two sisters, who I knew well, very much a part of my life, and he had $20 in his wallet, and he had listed Custom Tailor as his. Through him, they honor a man of faith, the embodiment of a people who believe in a higher power and are willing to sacrifice for a better future, refusing to be defined by fears and limitations. Yes, Columbus had flaws, as we all do. To acknowledge his moral complexity and administrative foibles does not deny his greatness, because if it did, no one would be great. And I will not engage in ripping apart their so-called heroes, compared to which Columbus looks like a saint. Here's the. I don't know if I have this one in my special place, but Ted, maybe you could. This is the one in Queens, and this is the animal's finger.
Oh yeah,
the guy who wants to be mayor. There, this guy here. This ne'er-do-well, Islamic extremist, communist.
This is the tweet.
What else could be wrong with him?
And he says, "Take it down," and he has a middle finger.
That's the statue we're talking about in Queens. The winner of the Nobel Prize, Maria Corina Machado, a hero of Venezuela and the person who should be president of Venezuela, dedicated her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Not just because he should have won it, but because he's a big part of her winning it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big part of working really, really hard to liberate Venezuela. I mean, I don't know exactly if we know how many of those Venezuelan drug dealers' boats and communist boats they've blown out of the water, he and Pete. But they're doing a pretty damn good job of zeroing in on Morales. I wouldn't be surprised if Morales ended up in Russia or someplace like that, the way the guy in Ukraine did. Don't if it
Maduro?
happens.
Maduro?
Did I say Morales? Maduro. Morales used to be in.
I know what you meant.
In Bolivia.
Yeah.
Maduro, and the reality is, he'll just be gone. The way Assad, that's it. It's very subtle. You gotta watch this stuff. You gotta know it. You gotta watch it. And you gotta listen to us if you really want to know what's going on. But that guy, I wouldn't put too many bets on him. I don't think they kill him. I think President Trump is very loath to do that, and we used to do that, and for good reason, And some people think that's how we got President Kennedy killed, because we were doing our own killing. I don't subscribe to that, by the way, but some people do. And when I say I don't subscribe to it, I hardly know the answer to the Kennedy assassination. So I'm not gonna. I can give you my best analysis, which is as good as anybody else's, by the way. Probably better than a lot, but not definitive. Jamie Dimon has laid out a very important issue, and that is, and he set up a fund, and I want to congratulate him for it. The fund is the Security and Resilience Initiative. It'll be a 10-year fund. It'll be funded initially with $1.5 trillion, and it's going to be specially designated for security, for national security and economic resilience issues, from basically to assist us in becoming self-reliant. There are areas where during COVID we found out. I think even Dr. Maria was surprised that we depended on China for so much of our medical supplies, and now it turns out we depend on them for things that are necessary for AI and for quantum computing, and we depend on them for for things that have to do with our ability to create energy in general. We are in the process of changing that, probably as fast as humanly possible if you know Donald Trump. But this fund of Jamie Dimon, and again, congratulations. This is what should happen when you've got a private sector that's motivated by a great president. And if they all come in, it'll be like the Second World War. We won the Second World War for a lot of reasons, one of the least of which is how hard the American people worked, from the very rich who turned over their industries to the very poor who went to work. Everybody focused. Everybody's got to focus in order to beat China, because China right now is beating us. They haven't caught us, but they will. And Trump has, from day one, Trump has done everything he can. And if you look at the things he's done, almost all of them have that as a subtext, competing with and defeating China. So the money is going to be for supply chains and advanced manufacturing to assist us in making sure that we have pharmaceutical precursors, robotics, and components such as semiconductors and rare earth elements. Remember the deal we did with Ukraine? Defense and aerospace to support innovation, so that we develop a first-class drone industry, which we are behind. We're behind China. We're behind Ukraine. Ukraine is willing to catch us up, and they are. They were here all week last week doing that. And Ukraine might possibly be number 2 to China in drones. Energy independence. Well, Trump invented that. And not only that, he's in a situation with Ukraine where Ukraine is offering him a deal where they will use their storage areas for American oil and gas, which then can be given to those cowardly European countries that are still buying oil from Russia. And they have no excuses. I mean, Trump says, do business with me. They're going to say no. Now, you know, will it cost more? Maybe, maybe not. A little money has to be put in for the price of freedom, don't you think? I'm talking to you, Hungry. Victor, I love you. Come on. Stop buying blood oil and blood gas from the butcher, Putin. You're taking a look at those. You're taking a look at those apartment buildings he's hitting. When's the last time he hit a military installation? I don't know. Did he ever? He's killing babies. He's killing kids. He's doing a terror campaign now. He's not going to capture Lviv. He didn't bomb Lviv, which is 500 miles from the closest point. He is 800 miles, maybe more. He did it to terrorize. Victor, come on. You love Trump. You love America. Hungarians are great people. Stop being one of the last countries to buy their effing oil, huh? And then, of course, you know, also the U.S. electric grid and making sure that, number one, it's secure. We've been working on that for a long time. Not that we're there yet, but I know that because I worked on it. Here's what we could use, however. Of course, we need the security. We should also modernize it. And supercomputing is going to allow us to do that. And ultimately, that's going to cost a lot of money. And ultimately, it's going to be cheaper, like happens all the time. I got to show you. I just have to show you. Even though I have to take a little break here, like just play around with my you-know-what. My favorite thing, now that we're back.
Well, why don't we play while you do that, Mayor?
Oh, yeah. Ted, you've been very, very quiet.
Yeah,
come on, babes.
We've been working. Let's play.
Ted's been working all day on this. Early this morning, when we very excitedly. I mean, our little team here, Dr. Maria, who you're going to go watch at 9, and Ted and I have been excited all day and all working on separate things. But
and of course, we were watching early morning. I mean, these releases. You know, it started happening.
I wasn't sure it was going to happen.
Same, and you're right, Mayor. You were right to keep on guard up until the final moment.
You know, when he took, you know what I was sure? Remember, I always have these points where
when
he took off. I'd say
he took off. That's right. And you mentioned that last week.
He can be a little irresponsible about that stuff. He'll just get on a plane and and call up Kim Jong-un and say, "I'm coming over." Most presidents do a lot more planning. This one, he's been holding back. I talked to my son on Friday, who saw him on Saturday. I didn't ask for any inside information. Just, how does he feel? And when he took off, I said to myself, he's not going there. And if he goes there and they screw him, I wouldn't want to be them. Right?
Right. I think they knew better than to pull something like
that.
So
go ahead. What do you got for us?
Well, let's play a little bit of the president's speech. This is to the Knesset, Israel's parliament. So let's hear a little bit. This is President Trump earlier today.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset and cherished citizens of Israel, we gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity.
The land of milk and honey. That's what it used to be called. The promised land. Land of the chosen people. I think I'm concluding the Passover service correctly until we meet again in Jerusalem next year. That's thousands of years of Jews praying for their own homeland. It took the destruction, 6 million of them, and the almost destruction of all of them to get it. The land has been occupied in many ways by many different people, but none more often or as long or with as much tradition as the Hebrews. You could trace it back if you are a really, really good historian, 3,000 years. If you're not so good, you can trace it back about 2,400 years. And if you're an absolute dope, you can trace it back 2,000 years. The Palestinians may very well have been invented by Yasser Arafat, at least according to his boasting. I mean, Arafat was Egyptian. Maybe that's why the Egyptians don't want Palestinians in their country. I don't know what you're going to do with them. Maybe this will soften it a little. Maybe it'll soften the Palestinians. Let's see. But let's move when we see. I want to show you something. That's the Arc de Trump. This is a rendering of a monument which looks an awful lot like the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, or possibly even the Washington arch in Washington Square Park
in New York,
where I went undercover. Remember?
Oh, I got to pull that up. Yeah.
Right. Now,
yep.
Yeah.
We got that footage.
I lived 3 years right across the street from that. My law school was right on that.
That's funny, Mayor. When I've seen it, I haven't spent a lot of time in Europe, but you've seen that famous arc. arch.
Yeah, the arc.
And,
the arc.
Germany has them too, right?
It would be as magnificent if it had as big a boulevard approaching it. The Arc de Triomphe has a massive boulevard, whereas the Arch in New York is it's a big street. You know, Southern Broadway.
It doesn't go through the arc.
No, you go around it, and that's where that whole area. As you get to within 2 blocks of the Washington Arch, you get into NYU territory. All that land is owned. That's why NYU is so rich. They own all that real property in the Lower Village. Those Italian restaurants where they are, the whole thing. And I lived across from it for 2 years in Vanderbilt Hall when I was in law school. And then my roommate and I decided we were going to move into the Village, and we went to Jane Street and walked to school every day. Oh, it was terrible.
Hey, I was going to say, you imagine Mayor Giuliani in the Village. Is the Village what I think it's made up of?
It was always wild. I mean, it was always wilder than the rest of the city. But if I compare the Village to what it became later, we were a bunch of little jerks, a bunch of little sissy boys. Like would I know if I wanted to how to go out and buy marijuana? No.
This would have been
somebody would have to tell me. But and believe me, people in law school in those days didn't want to be caught with marijuana. You were scared. You didn't even want to be near people with marijuana because you wouldn't become a member of the bar. Now they took it away from me for nothing. I only have been a member of the bar for 50 years, and probably one of the most distinguished in New York history.
Well, a lot of people are calling for that to be changed.
Well, I think of all the unfair things that were done to me, including trying to bankrupt me. That's the one, I will tell you this, that was the one that hurt the most. Because I love being a lawyer a lot more than they do. They don't love being lawyers. They love being players.
Yes, that's a really good way of putting it.
Well, that's the Arc de Trump. That's going to be built. I don't know how they're going to get it done for the 250th birthday. So if you know Washington, this is going to be in between the Lincoln Memorial and the Custis Lee Mansion, which is the Arlington Bridge, the beautiful Arlington Bridge, which looks like a bridge in Paris, right? And I think it was designed to look like a bridge in Paris. So this will be on the Washington rather than the Virginia side. And as you leave the Lincoln Memorial to drive to the Custis Lee Mansion, or the Kennedy gravesite for that matter, or Arlington Cemetery, you'll go right around this Arch of Triumph. Now, exactly what it'll be dedicated to? Our birthday, our 250th birthday.
Wow. That would be nice.
These are things, I know you say, well, this is part of Trump's genius. These are the things you do to build up connection with a country, love for a country. This is people come and see this who I don't know, maybe in the past they thought of themselves more as Italians, or they thought of themselves more as Spanish, or they thought of themselves more as Dominican, or they thought of themselves more as whatever. And now they see this, and this is common for everyone. They all love it, and that's how you build a country, around monuments, around heroes, around great things that they did. So now Karl Marx explains how you destroy a country, which is what we have going on now. Mm-hmm. Take away the monuments, take away the heroes, take away the love of the country, make the country mean and horrible and awful, even if it isn't. And then they'll come to us, atheistic communists, and we'll suck their blood, which is what they have done every place they've been. So this will be in addition to a couple of the other things he's doing. This will be between the Lincoln Memorial and the Arlington National Cemetery. Construction has already begun on a 90,000 square foot structure to house a 25,000 square foot ballroom for the East Wing of the White House. Last time he did one of those, he got married. So I don't know who's getting married. He built the one at Mar-a-Lago for his marriage with Melania.
Okay.
And I was there. I got to see it while it was being built.
I think Dan's.
And I was at the wedding. I was at the wedding with his new admirer, Hillary Clinton.
Our friend Dan Scavino, who is now in charge of presidential personnel of the, congratulations, Dan. I believe he's getting married. He may have already had the wedding.
Oh.
But let me.
Dan would deserve it. Would
into that.
deserve having it there.
Let me see.
But I mean, was he married by the president?
Yeah, I feel like we would have heard of this one. We may have even been invited. So let me double check that. I know he made an announcement of being
Other Trump
engaged.
projects include Garden of Heroes.
Oh, that's a good one. If it's what I think it is.
Yep.
Did you know that there's a bunch of big statues of the president out in like a field in Virginia?
Yeah, he's bringing them in.
Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, he probably heard about that, and being a construction guy, he's like, "What? These beautiful What are they doing out in the?"
I didn't have this one. Maybe you can show this, Ted. This is another example of what it's going to look like. Okay. Now let me quickly go through these because I want you to go to Dr. Maria. The 100% tariff with China, which is on top of 85%, which makes it 185%, which is really for our national security. So they start giving us the rare earth and all the other things we buy from them until we can become completely independent of them, which I give us 2 years to do that, by the way. Nobody else would agree with that, but I know Trump. He's going to get that. If he has to bankrupt China, he'll get it. They say he's already softening, which means China is softening. The shutdown on Obamacare. I hear that the Republicans are fading a little. They're getting nervous. Stop it. Grow a pair of. This is important. This is the extension of the worst part of Obamacare. It's not the original Obamacare. That's bad enough. That should be done away with. This is the part that was added, pandemic, and then made permanent by the phoniest bill in history, the anti-inflation bill by Biden. This will be $1 trillion added to our debt in order to give Medicaid and Obamacare to people who, in many cases, are well-to-do to rich. In all cases, can get private insurance and therefore are not entitled to it. This is Obamacare for the crooks. Now, Obamacare for the non-crooks is a terrible mistake. You get much better coverage without Obamacare. It's a big ripoff. And since it's being run through a lot of these not-for-profits, they add to the ripoff. But that's another story. This is something they added during the pandemic and made clear it would only last for 3 years, 4 years. Now it's up. Now they want to make it permanent. We got to just stand our ground and say, no way, not happening. Because if we don't straighten out our debt, we won't be able to defend ourselves. The Virginia race for governor is getting enormously complicated. We have that Governor Sherrill, Mickey Sherrill, who's a real loser. Now it turns out she took $65,000 from two companies connected directly with the Chinese Communist Party. Sounds like Tampon Tim, right? Except it turns out these may be foreign contributions. And in any event, the donor, Pin Nye, has an extensive history of assisting the CCP, political warfare, and influence operations upon the U.S. So you say to yourself, well, what's this in comparison to what Biden did? Well, we're not going to let them all get away with it, right? I mean, Virginia has enough problems. They want to destroy the difference between the sexes. They want to put parents in jail who don't want their kids having their genitals chopped off without their permission. She's in favor of all that. And now it looks like she's on the payroll of the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, this is crazy. Katie Porter, we were going to play Katie Porter. We can do that tomorrow night. And we're going to we'll go over the New Jersey race also, where things are getting very, very close. Very, very close.
The latest poll that a majority of the media, at least, is using as credible, and we always want to question that, right? This is the media we're talking about, has them tied 44 to 44.
Well, then he's ahead.
Right.
Let's face it, he's ahead.
As President Trump, so why
now there is a congressman that we have a special eye on, because I see him as the successor of Shifty Schiff when Schiff goes to the penitentiary. I think he may be the biggest liar in Congress. That's hard.
I guess.
Could be. Dan Goldman.
Oh, that one. What else? Given a beat, you had that.
This is an article by the balanced Jonathan Turley, who says Representative Dan Goldman is an example of how the wrong type of ambition can destroy Congress. Jack Smith, as you know, tracked the telephone numbers of members of Congress in order to frame them. I think he did me too.
Bingo. Bingo.
Senator Chris Coons, who's a Democrat from Delaware, said it's a significant invasion of the right of senators. He didn't care about us, but the senators. Goldman attacked the victims, including the senators, as legitimate targets to help confirm Trump's effort to overthrow the government. Goldman particularly attacked Senator Ron Johnson and declared, "You are shameless." He then said, "You laundered Russian information in 2020 and then communicated with the White House on January 6th. That's what he's talking about.
Right. Let's see if we got that video. Well, here's a clip from Dan.
He's a spoiled, sissy little rich boy.
Yep. Let's play a short clip if we can. Would you like to hear this, Mayor?
Not really, but go ahead.
If it gets off track, we'll cut him.
Danny
Struck
Goldman.
me now, 45 minutes into this. You have had to fact check Phil, Brianna significantly tonight because there's so many allegations that are talking points that we hear about on other networks that are just not supported by the facts.
You're not going to sit here and fact check us when you spread the Russia collusion hoax. Come on.
I didn't actually fact check you.
Oh,
Abby did. She knows it. She knows it better than I did. But I think that's part of the issue that we are having is that we're picking out, some people are picking out anecdotal stories that are not supported with any evidence
members of
or
Congress
proof.
of your own party protesting at ICE.
Well, can I just finish? I'm happy to let you speak.
The reality is you just poked at me, but I'm telling you right now, you've got members of your own party showing up at protests, members of Congress being arrested for protesting at ICE facilities, and you want to poke at us as to whether or not we're being fact-checked? How about this? The Democrats have got the wrong side. You're absolutely on the wrong side of it. You're on the wrong side of history on all of this, and you know it. You're on the absolute wrong side of history. Your party ruined the border control policies of this nation. You let 11 to 12 to 13 million people stream across the border, and now we're dealing with it.
I can guarantee you,
and you don't want to deal with the fact
that you are on the wrong side of history because this president is authoritarian and he is a fascist.
Okay, no, time out. That is assassination prep language. That is.
Just get him off. The president is a fascist. When you hear that, you know you're dealing with a lying bastard. Okay? Forget it. Forget it. Okay, I'm going to finish now because we're going to go to Dr. Maria. But I am going to put myself on the FBI list, if it still exists, to be investigated because I like the Latin Mass. And I'm going to show you pictures of the Latin Mass in a beautiful Church of the Assumption in Lantana, Florida. There is what it looks like. Introibo ad altare Dei, a Dei qui latificat juventutem meum. That's how it begins. The second part was my part. I had a very, very emotional day at this Mass yesterday because it brought me back to my days as an altar boy. So you notice the altar is facing the people, and the priest stands with his back to the people, but facing the tabernacle. So that's the church. This is, I guess, they're helping with a little baby. There's the priest. Distributing communion the old-fashioned way with the people kneeling and the priest putting it in your mouth. There's some more of that. Oh, look at this little boy, so cute. You notice it, a good representation of church. This was 2:00 in the afternoon, by the way. This is one of the most beautiful parts of the Mass, which I enjoyed as a little boy because you got to play a role in it. This is called the lavabo mei. I will wash my hands. After the first part of the Mass, when you get to the sacrificial part of the Mass, before the priest does the consecration, he washes his hands. The altar boys or the deacon in this case, who also is a priest, washes his hands. And then he goes back. There it is. You can see the washing of the hands. And that was the beginning of the Mass. When they first come out, and he says, and the priest in the middle says, in troibo ad altare Dei, I have come to the altar of the Lord. And the answer is, Lord God, the joy of my youth. That's a bigger section of it. Another bigger section. That's something different. Okay. So now go over to Lindell TV. It'll be a continuation with the great Dr. Maria, who will have very, very interesting observations about what's happening and what will happen. This will be a day to remember. Yesterday, when I first woke up, I posted the statement from the statement. This is from the Psalms. This is the day the Lord has made. And today we went to the Beatitudes, and says that peacemakers will be the sons of God. Well, we got a couple of peacemakers, huh? Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, right?
Right.
Steve
Witkoff.
And Steve Witkoff.
Jared
and
Kushner.
Jared Kushner, please. Let's not leave out Jared. He came in like Mariano Rivera here as the closer. God bless Jared.
You and Jared were close during the 2016 campaign, right?
Yeah, I love Jared. He's a great guy.
Yeah, even now.
Yeah.
Not to suggest there's been any.
Yeah, no, we spent more time together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The president has recommended throwing Spain. Where do you want to throw them out of? Hey, NATO, because they don't want to pay.
They're not paying.
Why not throw them out of NATO? They also are on the side of Russia.
What do they contribute to NATO? Right?
It's a communist. Pedro Sanchez is a communist. He won't commit to his 5%. He's constantly criticizing us. Throw the bomb out.
We're on this hot streak.
Tonight we're going to stop and we're going to pray. We're going to pray for everybody that we always pray for, right? We're going to pray for the Ukrainians. We're going to pray for the Iranians, for the Israelis, and for us. We're going to give a prayer of thanksgiving because God has listened to our prayers and He's delivered us again. And isn't it wonderful being on the side of the chosen people? Because the president is. And we're going to pray for the people of America, that we have the kind of wisdom that the people of Israel have. And we're going to pray for our great president and all of the people around him. Of course, Steve and Jared and Marco, but they had a tremendous supporting cast too. And as I will tell you, having run New York City, you never do any of this on your own. You don't have a good supporting cast, it doesn't happen. And these people were not just good, they were brilliant. And to my good friend, the great Prime Minister of Israel, you're a Prime Minister for the ages, my friend. God bless you. God bless Israel, our great friend and ally. And God bless America.
חיים שלי, אתה אלוף גיבור, כפרה עליך אני, כמה החיות שלך מחכות לראות אותך, ואילנה, חיים שלי ונוני, כל העולם חיים שלי, אתה, בטח, החזירו לי אותו אחרי 4 ימים, אתה לא מבין, טונטון, אתה לא מבין, חיים שלי, מה? כפרה עליך אני, זה החיים שלי, אתה רוצה לשתות, כפרה עליך, בוא כפרה עליך, בוא חיים שלי, אתה בוא כפרה עליך, מה זה? לא כפרה, לא צריכה.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained by rational principles. The reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it. It's our purpose